This is exactly how I felt when I first played Path of Exile. It's a fun game, but it can get super complex. So today I'll be teaching you all the basics you need to know to start playing, and give you the tools you need to make an awesome character and breeze through the campaign, so you don't end up like this guy. After playing your first few seconds of the game, you'll slay a monster that drops an item called an active skill gem. In Path of Exile, all of your abilities come from skill gems that you socket into your weapons and armor. You can see how socketing one skill gem here gives me this ability, and a different one here gives me an entirely new ability. Any class can use any skill gem, but your class will determine which gems drop from quests, like that active skill I just got from that monster. Keep playing for another minute or so, and you'll find a chest that contains your first support skill gem. These enhance active skill gems instead of giving you a new ability. So here's my Fireball active skill gem normally, but if I link it to a Ballista support gem, pressing Q now drops a ballista that shoots fireballs for me. To have support gems work, you need to put them in a socket that has a link to your active skill gem. So on this item, if my active Fireball skill is here, then I can only put support gems here to have them enhance the Fireball skill. Linking more support gems to your active gems is the #1 best way to increase your damage. Here I am at 2 parts in the story fighting a similarly tough enemy. On the left I have 2 support gems linked to my active skill, whereas on the right I may have forgot to put in the support gems, so yeah. If you have any questions about Path of Exile while you're watching this video, make sure to leave a comment so I can help you out. After picking up your first support skill gem, you can continue along the coast and defeat your first boss. This should be easy to do if you've linked your 2 skill gems and you're constantly using your flasks, which heal you. You can have 5 flasks equipped. You keep them permanently and they refill when you kill monsters. Make sure to use new better flasks as you get them. A great starting setup would be 2 life flasks, a mana flask, and 2 speed flasks. Once you kill the boss, you level up, which gives you your first passive skill point. That skill point I just got lets me unlock 1 node on this massive passive skill tree, which is basically a giant game of connect the dots. This is definitely one of the scariest things you'll see your first time playing, so let's take a minute to break this down. The dots on this tree are called passive skills, or just passives, and they each give you useful stats. You unlock passives in a chain. At first you can only unlock ones that are next to your starting location on the tree, which is different for each class. From there, you can get any passive that's next to a passive you already unlocked. There are 6 classes to start with. I'm playing the Marauder, so this is where I can start my chain of skills. Each class has their own set of very powerful skill trees called Ascendancies that you'll unlock later in the story. Since Ascendancies are so powerful, you will do a lot more damage if you pick a class that has Ascendancies that buff the skills you plan to use. At this point in my first run of Path of Exile, I had 3 burning questions. Which class should I pick? Which passive skills should I take? And which skill gems should I use? If you can find answers to all 3 of these questions, you'll be able to annihilate bosses and fly through levels with an awesome character. And luckily, the answer to all 3 of these questions can be found in build guides. I've gathered a list of awesome builds that will give you recommendations on class, skill gem, and passive skill picks to help you make an awesome character. I picked out 1 great build for each class in the sheet linked in the description of this video. They cover a variety of playstyles and are super beginner friendly while being some of the most powerful starter builds in the game. To pick your starter build, I would recommend you open up the game, take a look at the 6 classes, and pick which character looks coolest to you. You'll play more and you'll learn more if you're playing a class whose look and feel is fun for you. I decided to pick the Marauder for making this guide, because he's the cutest. Once you know which class you want to play, you can either use a build from my guide in the description, or find a new build of your own. I used to be the kind of player that thought using someone else's build was cheating, but I've learned that PoE is so complex that if you ever want to master it, you need to use all the help you can get from veterans. And if you like to theorycraft and experiment, then use these build guides as starting points that can be modified in any way you like. One important thing to note is that you do not need to read through an entire build guide to start playing. There's only a few pieces of the guide we need right now to answer our 3 big questions, so let's go over what you need to know. I've figured out I'm playing the Marauder, so now it's time to figure out which passive skill to get with my first point. I'm going to open up my build list and check the "which passive skills should I take" column for the Marauder build, and open up the link to see that build's full skill tree. Build guides have different ways of showing you the skill tree, so this may look different if you picked a different build. This small separate tree is my ascendancy, which I don't have unlocked yet, so I can ignore that. Instead, I'll focus on this chain of passive skills, so now I know I'll path to these 2 big skills in my first 10 levels or so. After killing your first boss, you'll enter town and talk to Tarkly to pick up your first active skill gem reward. Some skill gems will be a lot better to level with than others, so if you want to know which skill gem is best for you to take, open up the build sheet and check the "which skill gem should I use" column of your build. You'll get some gems from your quest, but you can always buy more from Nessa to create powerful sets of gems that your guides recommend. There's no standard currency like gold in Path of Exile. Instead, vendors will sell you items in exchange for certain crafting ingredients that you can loot from monsters. If you're not sure when or where you should be able to get a gem, you can search the gem online and check the wiki. Now that you know how to make an awesome character, how do you actually do your first quest? Talk to every NPC with an exclamation point over their head, then press U to see the world map. There's an icon for each quest you have at the bottom. Yellow icons are main quests, blue icons are side quests. Try clicking the Mercy Mission quest, and you'll see that it shows you which area to go to next on the map. This side quest gives you one of those speed flasks I said were useful earlier, so it's a perfect first quest. Now you know everything you need to start building an awesome character. If you have any more questions about getting started, leave a comment or join the Discord. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, subscribe to get updated when my next video comes out. In the meantime, have a good one.